Hello and welcome to this Future Office Network Smartcast. We're going to be discussing leadership basics for new managers. Here's our agenda for our session today. We're looking at framing and inspirational approaches to leadership. What are the characteristics of charismatic leaders? Transactional and transformational leadership. Kind of two really distinct types. And we'll see where you fall into and maybe where you want to be. Authentic leaders and ethical behavior. Trust. Trust is so needed in the workplace today. There's such a dearth of trust, but it is the foundation of leadership. Contemporary leadership roles, how one should act when you're a leader. Challenges to leadership, and then finding and creating effective leaders. We talked about framing. Framing is really a simple concept, but it's something that leaders use very effectively. It is a way to use language to manage meaning, and it's also something that leaders use, framing that is, to selectively include or exclude facts. You think back on some of the leaders that we've had. Think back on, like, say, Dr. Martin Luther King. Did he say everything about the topic he had to talk about? No. He said pertinent facts that portrayed in the image of the person in the audience and what he or she heard a certain picture, a certain framing of the issue. It had parameters. It was designed to put a slant on a particular topic. That is what framing is. Charismatic leadership theory is simply a concept that means followers make attributions of heroic or extraordinary leadership abilities when they observe certain behaviors. So if you're a leader, hopefully you're not a manager. Warren Bennis once said on the faculty at the business school at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, he said that managers do things right, but leaders do the right things. Do the right things. We have too many people that just go through the motions and do things right. Now, your followers are watching you. Your subordinates are looking at you, and they're going to attribute success or failure or positive or negative attributes to you depending on what they see in you. The things you probably want as a leader are the traits of a charismatic leader. For example, do you have a vision? Do you express the vision? Do you talk about the vision? Do you talk it up? This is what employees want to see. Where there is no vision, people perish, is an old saying. Number two, are you willing to take personal risks to achieve the vision? Personal risks, not corporate risks, personal risks, where you could stand to gain or lose. That is the kind of thing that employees really look at and say, kudos to you. Are you sensitive to followers' needs? Are you a cheerleader? Are you a servant leader? It's kind of a hackneyed, worn-out expression, but it is true. You must be a servant leader. You must be cheering on the troops. Serve them, and they will serve you. Do you exhibit behaviors that are out of the ordinary? You know, you think back on some of the famous leaders. Recently, we lost Steve Jobs of Apple Computer. For sure, in Walter Isaacson's biography of Steve Jobs, if you've read that book, he was a very peculiar individual, very divergent behaviors and attitudes, and almost bordering on very, very strange. But he was out of the ordinary. Be out of the ordinary. Don't be just like everybody else. When you are out of the ordinary, you will attract the attention of your followers as long as those behaviors that you demonstrate lead to positive motion, positive momentum, positive trajectory. Key characteristics of charismatic leaders: vision and articulation. We've already talked about that. Personal risk, sensitivity to followers' needs, and unconventional behavior. Level 5 leaders possess a certain, we'll call a fifth dimension, a paradoxical blend of personal humility and professional will, in addition to the 4 basic leadership qualities of individual capability. Number 2, team skills. Number 3, managerial competence. You've got to be competent. And number 4, the ability to stimulate others to high performance. Put people under a level of stress, but not too much stress to where they burn out. But a certain level of stress is important, and it's necessary for productivity in high performers. You put an athlete under stress and they become a better athlete and they perform better and their productivity is better. This is what level 5 leaders do. They also channel their ego needs away from themselves. Yes, you have ego needs as a leader, but you channel those things away from yourself and into the goal of building a great company.